Welcome back to another video on a very interesting new smartphone. A couple of days back, we took a look at the Xiaomi 14 Pro. Now, if you missed that video, I'll leave a card to it here and also provide a link in the description below. Today, we take a look at Xiaomi's other flagship, the vanilla Xiaomi 14. The most interesting question here is, what is not so pro about this one? What has Xiaomi actually cut down? So that's exactly what I'm going to be walking you through here, and I'll also be providing you with my own impressions on what I think Xiaomi's done with the Vanilla 14. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and let's kick things off with the display. So first, what's not pro about this panel? The answer? Size and resolution. The Xiaomi 14 Pro has a 6.73-inch display with a Quad HD Plus resolution, while the Vanilla 14 on the other hand, it sports a much smaller 6.36-inch panel with a 1.5K resolution. Also, the Xiaomi 14 Pro has a flat panel with the glass covering it curving at the edges that gives it a smooth swipe from the sides feel. Now this is something the regular Xiaomi 14 lacks. Now like I said in that video, while Xiaomi's implementation has indeed cut down the edge discoloration substantially, it is still more noticeable than what you'd get on a completely flat panel, which is exactly what the Xiaomi 14 has. Now the 14 also loses the Xiaomi ceramic glass protection found on the Pro. Anyway, if you think about it, this is one of the smallest displays on a mainstream smartphone. I mean, outside of the Pixels and iPhones, can you think of any other phone with a smaller display? The Zenphones maybe? I really can't think of anything else. And at this size, with the exception of the Pro iPhones, pretty much every other phone, including Xiaomi's own Xiaomi 13, all sport Full HD Plus panels. So I feel this 1.5K OLED panel, despite some omissions from the more expensive Pro, it's still excellent. If you prefer small displays, they should perfectly fit your needs. Because pretty much every other spec is identical to what you find on the Pro. This is also an OLED panel from TCL, the C8 to be precise. This also has the same LTPO tech to be able to vary the refresh between 1 to 120 Hz for efficiency. It again has the same brightness peak of 3000 nits for HDR, which is the highest for a smartphone today. Now the display size of course directly affects the overall form factor of a phone, and this phone, it's very different from the Pro. To me, I see this as a huge positive since I like my phones under 200 grams, and this one, it's actually about 30 grams lighter than the Pro. Now that said, it still has the same curve to the back, so it fits well in the palm of your hand, and the huge camera bump, it acts as the perfect resting place for your finger when holding the phone. Now the fingerprint scanner placement is a little lower, yes, but given how small this phone is, I think it doesn't really affect the ergonomics. From a materials perspective, it's got the same aluminum frame, though it does lack the titanium option that's available on the Pro. But instead, Xiaomi does offer a silicon polymer back option for the pink skew. Now this one, it's even lighter, and it also happens to be more resistant to fingerprints and smudges than glass. Now the IP rating remains the same, IP68, and the IR blaster is relocated into the camera array on the regular Xiaomi 14 too. Now while there is no dedicated speaker cutout to the top, the earpiece does pull double duty as a stereo speaker, and the output, while not as loud as the Pro, it's still pretty good. Here, have a listen. Given that the size is smaller, of course the battery capacity is going to be lesser too. The Xiaomi 14 sports a 4610 mAh battery on the inside, a minor 2.5% increase from last year, but it's pretty close to the 4880 mAh battery that you find on the Pro. Given the difference in resolution and screen size, I won't be surprised if the regular Xiaomi 14 performs just as well as the Pro with respect to battery life, if not better. On the charging front, we get the same 50 watt proprietary wireless charging with 10 watt reverse wireless charging support here as well. Now the wired charging speed though, that's lower, it's 90 watts on the Vanilla 14, and Xiaomi claims this is gonna help the phone get from 0 to 100 in about half an hour. Now that's longer than the 18 minutes you get on the 120 watt Pro, so yes, this is not too pro. Also, the Type-C port here, it does video out just like the 14 Pro, But taking a page out of Apple's playbook, Xiaomi's gone with half the speed as the Pro, 5 Gbps instead of 10 here. And with that, we get to the optics. The vanilla Xiaomi 14 has the same triple camera setup as the 14 Pro, the exact same sensors, so we get three 50 megapixel shooters to the back. The secondary ultrawide and telephoto remain unchanged, but the primary 50 megapixel Light Fusion 900, it does not have the Leica Sumilex variable aperture lens that we saw on the Pro. Instead, here the primary camera it's paired with a standard f1.6 lens. Now that's the theory, but in practice, the results are usually very close. See these shots, they're pretty much identical. Now technically, in a scene like this, when you zoom in, you can see that the background blur is stronger on the Pro. Now that's because it's f1.42 versus f6. But yep, this is Xiaomi, so there's always a but. The Pro very often defaults to f2 to shoot. So if you're someone who uses the auto mode a lot, oftentimes you're gonna end up in a situation like this where the 14 is shooting f1.6, but the 14 Pro is defaulting to f2. So you end up getting a better depth of field on the vanilla Xiaomi 14. Now what about low light? If that's the next question in your head, the regular Xiaomi 14 continues to perform quite as well here too. Yes, it shoots at a higher ISO to compensate for the slower lens, but the results are very close. With the other sensors, given it's the same hardware, the same software and the same chip on the inside, there is no real difference here. With video, there's a small difference. Unlike the 14 Pro, the Xiaomi 14 cannot do 8K 30. It is restricted to 8K 24 frames per second. It's not a big deal in my humble opinion. It can, however, do 4K 60 for the selfie, and the performance was identical to performance on the Pro. So check out my 14 Pro video for more information on this. The standard Xiaomi 14, it's a true flagship in every sense. It runs on the same HyperOS as the Pro with the same Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 SoC. It's paired with up to the same 16 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM and can also go up to the same terabyte of UFS 4.0 storage. Hell, it even has the same flaws as the Pro. It has the lens fogging issue that I talked about in the short that I linked to here, and it cannot complete a 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme stress test either. Now that said, games like Genshin Impact ran really well without frame drops for extended periods of time. Now actually one more thing, the vibration motor on this one, it's different, but in my limited experience, it felt just as good. So overall, I feel the Xiaomi 14 looks like a very well-rounded compact flagship, and I like how Xiaomi's only cut very few luxury features here like the variable aperture lens and so on, and add to it the fact that this phone is a whole 1000 yuan cheaper. It makes the Xiaomi 14, in my humble opinion, very good value. So I guess that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye now.